Hey guys, another video for our Pilots in Japan playlist, and it's an update on a previous video that we did about the drone regulations in Japan. So what we saw recently is, very recently, they changed the rules to allow drone flights out of the line of sight of the operator. So until recently, the rule was, as mentioned in the last video, that the operator had to always be within eyesight of the drone. It wasn't allowed to operate the drone out of eyesight. So they changed the rule to allow for the operator to operate the drone out of his line of sight, out of the person's line of sight, the operator's line of sight. And also they've changed the rules to allow operation over residential and urban areas. So before, they had very strict rules about that. So of course, as they're freeing up or allowing more freedom for the operation of drones, they are also appropriately increasing the regulation of the operation of drones. So a few of the regulations are that all drones have to be registered, and they have to have these little microchips on board that can be used to identify them. So sort of like a registration plate on a car, but a little chip in the drone that's used to identify the drone. So if the owner of the drone does something naughty, it'll be easy to identify them. That's the thinking. And also the operators of the drones have to have done a course. Now they seem to have four categories or four levels of drone and operator. And just, you know, Joe Public out here in the rice fields operating his drone over the rice fields is the sort of the most lax set of regulations. Still, the operator has to do a course to learn how to fly a drone, and an approved course, and the drone has to have that microchip. And then there's different levels going up to category 4, which is the flying over cities and out of the line of sight. However, they also have a little line at the bottom that, if you're not paying attention, you might miss, that says all the flights have to be approved. There has to be permission given by the authorities for each flight, right? So the idea of this is, what's happening is there's financial pressure, or there's pressure from big companies, so courier companies and other companies that want to use drones for deliveries. The excuse is that that they don't have enough staff, and that there's all sorts of reasons where they want to use drones. Obviously, companies, the real reason is it's cheaper, isn't it? If they can use drones. Same as the robots we showed you recently in the restaurants. You know, they're doing it because obviously it saves them money if they can do that. So obviously it's the same. So the big companies are putting pressure on the politicians to allow them to do this, because obviously their dream is that they just got a bunch of robots and a bunch of drones doing the courier deliveries all over Japan, and with the minimum amount of staff, just a few tech guys in the head office probably. So that's obviously why this is happening, is that it's the business. It's not the hobby operator who likes to play with his drone on the weekend. That's obviously, you know, not what's changing anything. It's the pressure from the big companies on the politicians to do it. So, and it seems that it's slowly working. Slowly, as all things in Japan, it's happening slowly. Which, as a pilot, you know, the pilots are usually fairly wary of drones, you know, and over the years, as drones become more popular, we've seen more examples of potentially dangerous incidents involving drones and aircraft conflict. So as a pilot, usually most pilots will support any sort of control of the use of drones, you know, where they're used and that sort of thing. So obviously we don't want them anywhere near airports, and we don't want them flying around over 500 feet in the air. And as a pilot too, you know, you're sort of aware of, it's a different thing, the three-dimensional thing. You know, having a robot bring you your dinner at a restaurant is all well and good. It's not likely to do anybody any harm. But when you have something of a reasonable weight flying around in the air, and, you know, as they're talking about letting them do it over cities and over residential areas, you know, it's obviously it's got the potential to be really, really dangerous. You know, ignoring the dangers to aircraft, if they stay under 500 feet and stay away from airports, it shouldn't affect normal aircraft. But just as, you know, Joe Public walking down the street in a big city and some drone catches on an electrical cable and drops its weight down on some Joe citizen walking down the street, or Yoshi citizen in this case. So yeah, it's with good reason that they be cautious, I would think. So anyway, that's the latest. Just a bit of an update on that. Some of the pilots that follow our Pilots in Japan playlist and people interested in aviation have shown an interest in the drone rules in Japan. So that's where it is at the moment. So yeah, licensing for drone operators and registration of the aircraft and various rules to follow. That's the way it works. So as it changes, we're expecting, with that pressure that's coming on and with the new technology that's coming on, we're expecting to see more and more of it, obviously, you know, as we are around the world, aren't we? So as we get updates on the rules and regulations, we get emails from the Department of Lands, Transport and whatever they are that control the aviation industry. So anyway, that was that. More videos coming soon.